Hi everyone, I thought I would share some of my experiences on the Cricut Maker, trying out various blades and a few different materials such as felt and leather and stencils and even engraving on dog tags. I wasn't planning to make a big video of this, but as I started trying different materials with different blades, I thought, you know what? I'm doing all this testing for myself. I might as well share this information with everybody else or whoever wants it. So I don't actually have a Cricut Maker. I borrowed it from work and I would very much like one, but I can't budget it. But at work, I have been lately in charge of helping come up with activities for our staff for sort of like a health and wellness. And I get to be the tester and try things out and see what we might be able to use this for our students and staff. So basically, I have a few short clips and it's not going to be very professional. It's just going to be little videos I started to take as I was doing stuff. So there won't really be any start or ends to this. There'll just be little clips here and there. There is the rotary blade, which I have used for cutting out felt shapes. I think I tried it using this and then the deep point blade and the knife blade and gave you my opinions on that. I also have done used the engraving tool here and did some engraving with it. And I also got the foil transfer kit for the purpose of doing leather engraving. There's a gentleman who's done a very nice video on combining the engraving tip with the foil kit, or the foil tip here, and how to do some really nice engraving on veg tan leather. This is what I did using the engraving tool and the foil tool together. It was supposed to cut it out for me as well, but somehow I didn't set that part up right. But if I want to do some staining on this, it'll show up even better. But I was very happy with how this worked out. I, for some reason, can't find the video, so I have a feeling that my phone did not record it properly as I was doing it, which is a shame, but I have a very old phone and it is known to do this to me. I may have to redo that video when I can get the machine back from work, because right now everybody wants to try it over the summer and so I don't have access to it. But my little sample here was just using just the engraver, but once I added this tool in, it made the image so much better. I also have done some stencils. My idea was I wanted something that some stencils we can make for painting on items. So I want them to be able to stick this on and then paint their image. And I also tried making a stencil out of transfer paper, you use it in the photocopier for overhead projector sheets. So I tried doing that. I also have tried cutting thick pieces of leather. This is moose, and it almost cut through, and I will share that with you as well. My pros and cons with different blades. This shape is being used for making drumsticks with, and I wanted to see if I could use it, but my conclusion on that is going to be it's easier just to cut them out by hand. But anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys everything that I have learned so far with various materials, stencil material. I even tried this stencil film that someone else recommended on a different video, and I will give you my opinions on all of this. Oh, another thing I just want to quickly mention is I also tried the new chipboard that Cricut has, and it was a huge fail, the demo I did, and I will be showing that as well. Which blade I do not like. I still have not yet had time to try this out, this printable vinyl, which I hope to do whenever I get access to the machine again. And this as well, I'd like to try the balsa wood. And I did try printing some iron-on, but I haven't tried ironing it on yet. And I've done lots of vinyl applications, and it really works well for this. This machine works the best for this kind of stuff. Okay, let's jump into my little bits of video here and there. Okay, let's take a look at some of the different tips and blades. This is an engraving tip and quick swap housing, and just has kind of like a little sharp point on the end there. And this will come off, and I think it switches with an embossing tool, so you only have to buy the housing once and then you can swap it. We do not have the embossing yet. This is the deep point blade and housing. You can see the blade on that one. This is foil transfer tool, and it looks like this. And it's not sharp on the end, but I mean it's pointy, but it's not sharp. And it comes with, in total, 3 different size tips. I guess they call it small, medium, and large, for different materials. This one is the rotary blade. And the other one that I tested a lot was the knife blade, which is at work right now, so I will insert a photo here. And the other one is just the fine point blade, which comes with it. And I'll insert a photo now. All right, let's begin. I was just testing out the materials that I had, but you can actually do this on a Cricut machine. And you could waste way less fabric if you made your template with the t-shirts all together and did a whole bunch of t-shirts at once. But I was testing out the Cricut machine, and I was testing out different blades with each cut. So here's my results on trying to cut out a t-shirt sized on felt for doing beadwork. I used the setting felt with more pressure, and I used the rotary blade. And what we are trying to do is cut out material to make little pink shirts or orange shirts. So okay, here we go. I can see the outline there, and ooh, it looks like it's working. Okay, and I put down a piece of transfer tape sticky side up so that I wouldn't get felt pieces all over my board. And looks like it's just stuck a teeny bit in each corner here, so I can finish cutting that out. But this was a thicker felt, and yeah, it seems to work. So Yay. You know how many of these I cut out by hand? Lots. This is going to be great. Okay. Okay, so continuing on with my cutting tools on felt. Now that I've done the black using the rotary blade, I am going to try it on the pink that I have, but using the other setting they had there. I think it was fine point blade. And then I'm also going to try it on the Flexi Firm. Now this, even though it looks thinner, it is actually firmer, so we will give it a shot, whereas the felt is easier to bend. Okay, so now I'm using the stiff felt option. They only gave me the choice of using the fine point blade, and I used the more pressure. So we will see how it cuts differently than the rotary. That was fast. Alright, let me take a look. I can see the imprint. Oh, but I put my tape down too low. Darn it. And I moved my pattern down too, but oh well. This is just going to give us an idea if this works or not. So, ha! So not even close. I had the fine point blade on the more pressure setting, and like, let's go with the part that didn't have the tape on it. Not even close to being able to cut this. That's unfortunate. So I guess using the rotary blade is the way to go. I don't see how it'll work on my Flexi Firm, but what I could try is doing a couple passes on it maybe. Okay, so this time I made 3 layers and ran it through twice, and it's not strong enough. So that fine point blade just does not work. So you're gonna have to find a setting that uses the rotary blade. Obviously the regular felt one gave me that option, but the stiff one didn't. But I'm gonna see what other options there might be. Okay, here we go. I've found genuine leather setting. I'm just going to use it on default, being that felt is not as hard as leather. And it's the deep point blade I've got in here. So let's go. So here we go. Oh yeah, look. Haha, it worked. It looks a little frayed on the edges, like the cut is not as clean. Okay, it's just stuck on this one corner here. But I don't know if you can see. The cut is, well, actually it's not too bad, but there's a little bit of frayness as opposed to the rotary blade, which really just came out perfect. I think these two are the same thickness. So, in conclusion, I mean, I actually feel like the red one feels a little thicker. I bought stiff felt for both of these, but it's possible the red one could be slightly thicker. But in conclusion, I would definitely say that the rotary blade is the way to go if you have one. Okay, now I'm using the knife blade on medium garment leather. That was the only one that would give me the option to choose the knife blade. So we will see if this will work. Okay, so that was also a fail. it wanted to do 4 passes, so it did do 4 passes, and even with 4 passes, this knife blade did not cut through, but yet it starts to pull up the fabric. And this is the felt, it's the same thing it did for my cardboard, which I will post in a separate video because that was terrible. That new chipboard that they have, it did the same thing there. And so yeah, it's definitely not working. So let me show you the settings I had. Okay, again, that was setting the material to medium garment leather. I just did the default pressure, but maybe I should have done more, but I honestly don't think it's going to work because it, like if you see my chipboard demo, after 5 hours, and it was only on pass 5 out of 12, it was just terrible condition, and it was ripping everything up, and yeah. So anyways, yeah, it says you can't see what it says, but that was the knife blade. So yeah, that was a fail. Okay, here we go. We're going to do the exact same cut as on the pink felt, but this is called Flexi Firm. It's a little bit firmer of a material, and we are using the deep blade on the genuine leather setting with more pressure. Also, one thing I forgot to mention when I was using the knife blade attempt, which was a total fail, it did 4 passes and it takes a long time. Like, just for this one little item probably took like 10 minutes, and if I wanted to do like a whole sheet of these to cut out these for students, it would have taken too long. See, that one's already done, the deep point blade. All right, let's see. On the Flexi Firm, look at that again, and for some reason, the same as on that other one, gets stuck in this one little corner here, but it works pretty much. You just have to make one little snip here, and hooray. So again, in conclusion, rotary blades seem to work best. The deep point blade worked good, and the knife blade terrible. All right, okay, hope this helps you people from having to do your own demos. Although I do quickly want to mention, maybe try it on the default setting, because I do notice that it cut deep enough to go into my mat here. So just try and use the default setting, which I'll do on my next attempt. But yeah, it looks like it cut into my board. Darn it. Okay, I'm going to do another felt test on black, and this time I'm trying it on felt, on rotary blade, but I've duplicated my image and centered it so they're identical, so it should cut twice, because I was having trouble with, it did 1 pass, and I'm doing a flower shape this time, and it didn't cut all the way through. So I want to see if it will work now. That was 1 cut. Now it's doing the second cut. I duplicated the image, then centered it, then attached the two so that it would do 2 cuts. Alright, let's see. Interesting, it still doesn't go through all the way, but it is better. Looks like it's a little bit better than the one where I only had 1 pass. It Didn't go through much at all, a lot less. So maybe if I try this setting, but on more pressure, we'll have better luck. Okay, I just redid it again, exact same, with the rotary blade, more pressure. And honestly, and this is with the image duplicated, so it's doing 2 passes. Honestly, it's about the same, whether I had more pressure or not. But I did notice, I wish I could put this phone somewhere so that I could show you with having 2 hands, I'm actually able to rip out this shape. Oh, I was able to just rip it out. Like if you just kind of take a faster motion, it will come out all in one piece. So that's pretty good. So I did try this on the deep point blade again. Although I had good success with the t-shirt shape, I did not have any success with this shape here. So the rotary blade continues to be the way to go for felt pieces. Actually, correction, when I did the deep point blade, it didn't work, and the reason why it didn't work is because the fabric kept bunching up and then it wouldn't continue going. It would do the error message. Despite having this taped down on top of a sticky mat, the fabric sticky mat, it was, you know, bunching up like this, and then of course it couldn't work properly. So I just never bothered trying after that and just went back to the rotary blade. So I saw this in the store and was like, oh, this is perfect, because I wanted to cut some shapes out. And I was so excited to try this chipboard 1.5 millimeter for Cricut. And I was very disappointed. I spent a couple hours making myself a template, and then I put it in the machine. And it looks like this, by the way. You get 5 in a pack, and they're about that thick. So I put this, you know, I taped it down and everything, put it in the machine. And first thing is, it said it was going to take 12 passes. And the very first pass took an hour. So the first 2 passes, everything looked like it was going to be good. I'll show you a picture that I took approximately 2 hours in. And but then by about the 3rd pass, it started doing this. It started peeling areas, and I started getting little pieces like this coming off the top. And I thought, well, maybe when it cuts through, I can use the backside and the backside will be clear. But after about 5 hours, and that was still only on the 5th pass, and it was going to take 12 hours total, and it was just looking messier and messier. And actually, I fixed this up quite a bit. Like, since I stopped it, I like rubbed off a bunch of the, you know, the 5 million little pieces that were sticking up and stuff to see if I could make it look better in any capacity. And then I started to try to take out some pieces just to see. Yeah, it's terrible stuff. I mean, 12 hours to make one set of shapes, which I was going to use for students, is just not workable. And the fact that they're going to look like this after, like they're going to have all these like crappy edges, even if it does finally cut through, it's going to like look terrible. Like, look at that one. Maybe if you're doing like one simple cut, you know, it might take you still a couple hours for it to do the passes that it Okay, now here I'm trying stencils, just using the fine point blade, which I was surprised. I thought I would need the deeper one. I did one using, you know, just the regular transparency sheets that you would use in a photocopier, and made my own template, and there you have it. Okay, here I have applied a vinyl stencil, and I'm just going to paint on here some black and try it out, see how this works. This was using the Cricut Maker. I made the label, and now I'm going to paint on the rattle. Alright, I just covered this over, and when it dries I'll peel off the stencil and see what it looks like. Okay, I hope this is dry enough and it didn't bleed over the side of the design. So I'm going to try peeling this off now. Oh, darn it, it did bleed through. Darn, darn, darn. Okay, so it looks better like this. Maybe I should just put that back on. Okay, this is going to be my second attempt. This time I printed the stencil off with this Oracal 813 stencil film. Although it feels a little better, it did not work well at all. One of the stencils I made completely failed, and all of the backing material stuck to my mat because I forgot to put transfer tape down, but I wasn't expecting that because I expected the backing itself to be peel offable. So I'm going to have to spend a bit of time peeling off all the paper that's left behind there. Anyways, I'm going to paint this black now and see if this one bleeds through. Okay, so I peeled it off. It doesn't look too bad. You just have to make sure that when you're painting it on, like when I did this circle, that I only go one direction all the way around the circle. I don't go back and forth because then you'll get like not as straight of a line. But there is some areas that this particular stencil, which was this, was missing a lot of detail. Like this one here I had printed out with the stencil material, and I liked it a lot better, but there's some details in here that just, you know, didn't work properly on the other one. What I like about stencil material is it has this nice backing, which is like plastic on the bottom, on the back, so when you peel it off your mat, everything's good. The other one completely stuck to the back of my mat, so I should have put transfer tape down first, but I just wasn't thinking. But also, the reason why I bought this stuff is because I wanted to actually make reusable stencils. And this one, once you put it on, as soon as you pull it off, it's useless. Like, it's like here's the leftover. You peel it off and it's like completely useless after, so you can't use it again. But this is the one that I had done stencil material, and I still have it. Like, I already painted on my thing and it's still here, so I could technically reuse this one again. The only thing is I just didn't like this particular design that I made, because when I painted it on here I ended up washing it off, because maybe I didn't have it stuck down enough and it bled, and this one bled through. But don't forget, this rattle is kind of like a rounded surface, so it's more difficult to do, you know, when you have to fold it over, so that could be why. But I definitely know this would be better for other things, especially if I'm doing a flat surface. This will be much better than this Oracal stuff. And like I said, the Oracal stuff appears to be a one-time use. So like I barely even got it out of the machine. Like the first, I had actually made 2 stencils on here. This one, when I peeled it off, it was already wrecked. I couldn't even use it once. That's probably actually what this is right here. And then the second one I used on here and it was okay, but like I said, it's missing pieces. But anyways, just so you guys know, if you're wanting to have reusable stencils, this one's better. It's still quite thin, so you might not get too many uses out of it, but you can. And of course, I'm making very small, intricate design here. So if you were making bigger stencils, it would probably be just fine. My transparency one that I made, you can't see it. You can kind of see it. Kind of, not really. Transparency one's good, except of course that it doesn't have any stick to it on the back. So you would have to tape it down really well. And what I liked about the other stuff is that it sticks, so that there's less chance of it bleeding, your paint bleeding under. So anyways, that's my review for you guys. I hope it helps some of you guys, because I'm doing a lot of testing here because I only have the machine from work for a few days. So I'm kind of like doing a whole bunch of testing to see what works best. And then we'll be coming up with craft ideas for student crafts and such. And I want to do something that will be easy, especially if I'm going to be replicating them many times. So my purpose right now is to try a bunch of things and see what I like the best. So I might as well pass it on to everybody else. Okay, here I am with some leather. And I tried to pick something that would use the rotary blades. I wanted to see if it could cut through. And I used suede, and I ran the rotary blade on it twice, and there were still patches I could see that didn't cut, but it did cut, but there was just places it wasn't all the way through. So then I thought I would go back to trying the knife blade. I chose medium garment leather with more pressure. And I ran it through thinking that it would finish the job, because it was pretty much all already done. And it still has pieces in spots that are still not cut fully through. I really, so far, all my attempts with the knife blade on the materials has just been not good. And if you're going to do any sort of bulk cutting, the knife blade takes a long time as well. That's why I wanted to see if the rotary blade would work, because it's a lot faster. But anyways, it still didn't work. I think I probably could have just used the rotary and then finished cutting it myself, because I'm not too sure how much the rotary blade did, because I didn't take it out of the machine because I wanted it to stay in the exact same position. Anyways, that's my results on leather. I think probably, well, for me, I was looking for ways to cut drumsticks or medicine bags out of leather more quickly, but I don't think this is it. Not to mention, you have to tack down the material and with transfer tape here so you don't wreck your mat, and then put some extra painter's tape around it, each piece, to make sure it's held in place. I don't know if that's worth it. Okay. Hi all. I just wanted to quickly let you know that I tried out the Engraver Tool on doing dog tags, and it worked out very well. And on leather, I used a genuine leather setting. I was trying to use my work logo. It's a very rough copy of it because I haven't figured out how to do a good SVG file for it yet. But I just wanted to do a quick test. On this one, I used a genuine leather setting, and I actually just ran it through twice. So when it popped out, I just pressed the button again for it to go in again. And I also used it on the more pressure setting. For this one, which was, I think this is deer. Anyways, this one, I just duplicated the image and aligned them identically on top of each other and attached it so that it would do 2 passes on its own. And I just used regular pressure that time. And I haven't put any stain or anything on it yet, but I can see that it's going to work. For the dog tags, I set the material to anodized aluminum. And I just used the regular default setting with the engraver. And for the font, I used the free Cricut Craft one and set it to engrave. And it's a multi-layer free font. But Jennifer Maker has a really good video on how to do the whole dog tag, so I'm not going to go into showing you how to do it unless somebody asks me to, but I mean there's no point because she has a wonderful video up. Anyways, that's just my quick video on that. Stay tuned for more as time goes on.